everybody, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Philadelphia Sports with myself, Liam Jenkins, where, as you might have guessed it, we go over everything that's happened this week in Philadelphia sports. Again, if you're new to this channel and you haven't yet hit subscribe, it'd be amazing if you could join our family. Do leave a like if you enjoyed the content, and of course, make sure to drop your comment on all of today's topics that we talk about. If you want your daily dose of Philadelphia sports coverage, make sure to go to phillysportsnetwork.com for content from me and everyone else at Philly Sports Network. It was a very interesting week last week because on Monday night when I was uploading last week's This Week in Philadelphia Sports, there's a level of complexity I really didn't want to hit. Obviously, we suffered the Brandon Brooks injury, so we touched on that evening. And then things just got a bit weird. We went from NBA hotel structures to a sucker punch to a brand new Philadelphia sports baby. So we're going to get into all of that in today's episode. And it's only right that we start with the biggest topic, and it's something I didn't really want to touch on too much because I don't like the idea of profiting off of someone being punched in the face. But it's a news outlet, we sort of have to. So Dallas Goedert, the Eagles tight end that had a very impressive year in 2019, went out to a restaurant with some friends in South Dakota on Friday evening and was just punched in the face for no real reason by some random 29-year-old man that has now been arrested and charged. So, to be fair, Aberdeen Police Department, fair play to you for getting on this and getting hold of that guy. Obviously, that behaviour is not acceptable at all, and if you have seen the video, it's not exactly pleasant to watch. I mean, Goedert is not a small guy. He's 6'5", 256 pounds, and he was dropped. It was utterly disgusting to watch someone just almost blindside him with a punch to the face, and Goedert almost turns into it as he gets hit. It's really unpleasant. Obviously, you hate seeing this for anyone when it comes to this sort of situation, but knowing that it's a player on your favourite sports team, it's going to make fans obviously feel a very certain way about that action. So fair play to Eagles teammates who took to Twitter to voice their support of Dallas Goedert. We know obviously that Avonte Maddox and Dallas Goedert are best friends, so it was no surprise to see him speak out. But again, the big thing here is that Dallas Goedert is okay. He did go to hospital, apparently, was checked out, he's absolutely fine and back at home. And the second thing is that the guy that did it has been arrested and has been charged with simple assault, which I believe in that area can end in a fine of up to $2,000 and potentially a jail sentence of up to a year. So if there's ever a time to make a statement, Dallas, lick the stamp, send it, charge that man, and make sure he gets a justified punishment for those actions, because it's not acceptable on any level. Now, what this incident has done is only reinstate my biggest fear in life, okay? Which is not spiders, alright? It's not snakes. It's not even being forced to rewatch every single Ronald Darby missed tackle in an Eagles uniform. It's being punched in the face, because believe it or not, this face is very, very punchable. I agree. I've never been socked, and it terrifies me, because I don't know how I'm going to react now. And then I see Dallas Goedert, who is a man mountain, who is 6'5", nearly 250 pounds, get dropped, and I'm like, if anyone ever starts on me, I'd like to think I'd be able to defend myself, but the reality is, I won't. And that's scary. If you hate this channel, if you despise a British accent, and you would love to sucker punch me, I'm sure we can work something out where you can vent all of that out, help me get over a cardinal fear, and release some stress out of your system. So you can email the address below, which is punchlj@pleasehelpmysanityquarantineIskillingme.com. A little bit before that though, onto some slightly more positive news. Doug Pederson held a press conference via Zoom calls with media reporters, and there was a lot talked about in there, obviously with the changes of OTAs and training camp and what's actually in store for the Eagles, for the Brandon Brooks injury, how the Eagles are going to facilitate it, and obviously we've done a film room on that prior to hopefully take a look at at least one of those avenues that the Eagles could explore. There is one thing that Doug Pederson stated that really caught my attention, and that is that Jalen Reagor, the wide receiver who was selected in the first round by the Eagles in this year's NFL draft, his role will be simple. Now, I know, it sounds shocking after seeing Mike Groh make J.J. Arcega-Whiteside learn the entire Matrix before going out onto the field. This does come as a bit of a shock. But the exact quote reads like this. Right now, he's going to come in and he's going to learn one position, and he's going to learn from Deshaun Jackson and learn everything he can. Ooh! Whew. Obviously, the playbook's extensive, and we just have to see what he's taken from the offseason to training camp, and then once we see his potential and his growth, then we can use him in multiple spots. It's almost like that's what Grow should have done with Arcega-Whiteside. I mean, what? But one of the things that all our receivers have the capability of doing is moving inside, whether they're an outside guy or an inside guy going outside. Keep him at one spot to start with and we'll grow from there. And again, there are several layers here. The first one, they're not letting history repeat itself, okay? They've seen what they've done to JJ Arcega-Whiteside. They've seen the stagnation that's caused and they've gone, no, alright? It's better to be a specialist in one trade than a jack of all trades and not particularly great at any, and I feel like the Eagles have very much learned their lesson from last year. Now obviously it could also have to do with the fact, quite largely so, that there is no OTAs and it doesn't make any logical sense to do that, but I'd like to think there is some element of retrospectively looking back at last year and realising that the JJ Arcega-Whiteside situation was handled about as well as I've handled my last breakup. It's also interesting to know that if Reagor is going to start outside, that means he's going to predominantly be a Z receiver. Oh my god, I said Z. He's going to be a Z receiver, okay? So the Eagles are probably still going to keep some type of rigidity on offense. Like, we know that Deshaun Jackson can move inside to the slot. So if they want to get Jackson and Reagor on the field at the same time, it's likely that Jackson will be in the slot, Reagor on one side, and obviously your X is going to be the possession-based receiver, likely J-Jaw, likely Alshon Jeffrey if healthy, or maybe they go full send on speed and they bring in someone like Marquise Goodwin. But I think that knowing that those two are going to run that same role, Jalen Reagor is going to learn from one of the best deep threats the NFL has ever seen, an icon in Philadelphia, someone that understands what it takes to be successful in this city, and that's only going to benefit him. That is only going to work wonders for his confidence, for his ability as a route runner, and his development as a receiver. I was taught a simple acronym at school. It went KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. And that is exactly what Doug Pederson is doing right now, and I've got every bit of respect for him. And just to interject before we touch on the other Philadelphia sports news, apologies for the haircut. Looking like I have just left the audition of a Backstreet Boys cover act. Unfortunately, I am absolutely exhausted. For those who don't know, I've started an esports team for Philly Sports Network, and we raced in a virtual 24-hour race over the course of the weekend, and we actually came 12th out of 54. There was a team of 5 of us, 54 teams of around 3 to 6 drivers per team, 24 hours. It was the most grueling thing I think I've ever done. It was an absolute blast, and to anyone that watched it on Twitch, thank you so much for your support. If your ears have perked up though, and this sounds like something that has interested you, we do stream on our Twitch channel most evenings at around 7 PM Eastern through to about midnight, and the link is down in the description. So if you want to see that, if you want to come and hang out one evening, we would love to have you over at the channel. In basketball news, the NBA announced earlier this week that in Florida, or Disney, where these playoffs will be taking place, hotels to teams will be given by seeding, which, I don't know, it is what it is, isn't it? So the Sixers are at the Grand Florian with the Thunder, the Rockets, the Pacers, the Mavericks, the Nets, the Grizzlies, the Magic, and if that doesn't sound like a Royal Rumble, I don't know what does. Now, I mean, I'm sure the hotels are going to be absolutely luxurious. Just because you're a 5 to an 8 seed, I highly doubt you're going to be staying at a Premier Inn or some dodgy Airbnb. They're going to be state-of-the-art hotels. So maybe they're just going to end up giving some of the finer teams in the NBA extra dinner service. Maybe they're going to get more than a TV with one channel on. Free internet. I don't know. I really don't know. But it just seems a bit bizarre. As for the NHL, they've gone about things a little more subtly, and it was revealed that their playoffs will start on July 30th. A 2-week training camp will take place in each respective hub city in the 2 weeks before that, and there will be one scrimmage game, which is relatively important for the Flyers at least, who are going to go knee-deep into a 5-game series. Flyers go into a 1-game matchup round-robin series to decide their seeding for the next round. They don't get a 5-game series to prepare them for the slog of a 7-game series in the next round, so any experience is vital at that point. As for the Philadelphia Union, they've drawn the group of death in the MLS tournament, drawing a 6-team group. They'll be playing Inter Miami, Orlando, Nashville, Chicago Fire, and NYCFC. Not the most dangerous of teams, but there are a few intriguing names there for sure, obviously including the newly implemented Inter Miami and Nashville. So whether or not the Union can get out of that group will remain to be seen. But between July 8th to 23rd, that's when the Union will be back on our screens trying to fight through a very difficult group stage, so keep your eyes out for that. And finally, in terms of positive, wholesome news, Bryce Harper and his wife Kayla are expecting a second baby. We love to see it. They had their first child in August of last year, a baby boy, and now baby Bryce is going to have a baby sister, and we love to see it. That is it, guys, for another episode of This Week in Philadelphia Sports. As always, if you've enjoyed it, please leave a like and drop a comment down below. From myself, Liam Jenkins, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.